and WNST.net. We got the NHL, Stanley Cup Finals, NBA Finals. Be covering that all week. Meantime, here come the Boston Red Sox in for 4 games and the Yankees after that. This guy covers all things Red Sox for MLB.com. Been on the beat for 14 seasons now at RedSox.com as well. And you can follow his journey on Twitter at Ian M. Browne. We welcome him in, and that is Browne with an E at the end. Longtime Red Sox beat reporter. What's going on from the first place land of Boston? I know you're not down here on the trip, Ian, but it has been quite the awakening for Red Sox Nation. We certainly saw that at Camden Yards in day one on Monday when down the Orioles fans.
Yeah, now the Red Sox, they have a little bit of their swagger back, that's true, and their offense has really been somewhat amazing to watch this year. It's like somebody's doing something every night. They had Jackie Bradley Jr. just had a 29-game hitting streak snap, and now Xander Bogaerts has a 23-game hitting streak, and Big Papi is having a last season like nobody could have imagined. And it's just the Red Sox are back to where they have that deep, relentless lineup. You know, the catching spot is a weak spot for them in the lineup, but other than that, they have 8 guys who can hit the ball pretty consistently.
You know, you've been on the beat during a glorious time here, right, over the last 14 years. I mean, I remember there was always doom and gloom, even when the Red Sox are in first place. All of that seems to be washed away, but there is this expectation that, A, they're going to spend money every offseason and reload, and they've now been in this mode of win a championship, finish in last place, win a championship, finish in last place. And you would say, well, this is the up year, kind of like the Giants, and we would say that, but the money they spent last offseason versus this offseason and the kind of promise, while this division feels like it's there for the taking, you knew that Bogaerts and Bradley and Betts were going to have to be a bigger part of this, and it just wasn't about the money they had spent and David Price in the offseason.
No, I mean, as a matter of fact, you know, you really watch the team. That David Price he has a good record, but he's had kind of a mediocre start to the season, so they've kind of broken off to the start. Without Price even pitching at his highest level. I mean, it really has been, aside from Big Papi, it's been mostly about the younger players. These guys have been, they've taken the game to another level this year, particularly Jackie Bradley, particularly Travis Shaw, Xander Bogaerts. You know, what can you say about Stephen Wright? You know, you guys saw him in Baltimore yesterday go the distance with that knuckleball, kind of looking like, Tim Wakefield circa about 1995 right now.
Or even better than that. I don't know. I mean, I've seen Dickey throw a one-hitter against the Orioles. You know, I've seen Wakefield through the years. I go back with Necro and all the, what I saw on Monday feels somehow, and I don't almost feel sustainable in some way.
Yeah, it does. It's been somewhat amazing to watch just because, usually with the knuckleball you have kind of your peaks and valleys. This guy has really been pitching well since they first put him in the rotation last July. And, he had a concussion. He missed the last 6 weeks of the season last year, but kind of picked up right where he left off. So, it just doesn't seem to be any shaking him from that group. The one bad game he had this year was in the rain, and knuckleballers in the rain, that's going to be tough because you're not going to be able to get that grip on the ball, which is so essential for them. But other than that, this guy has been lights out. Sustainable it is, we still don't know. I mean, he's still relatively amazing to me, and obviously that helps his confidence build.
Ian Browne covering all things Red Sox at MLB.com. You can follow his journey out on Twitter at Ian M. Browne, and that's Browne with the silent E at the end. Certainly, one thing has not been silent. I've told the story a couple times this week about my 30-30 tour last year and me not really spending any time with baseball players as much as we were swabbing people in the concourse at Fenway Park and a whole bunch of other places. We actually got a match that day. We saved a life that day, or potentially saved a life from a match that came from Fenway Park in the day when they played the Braves there. But Big Papi's the one guy on the tour that I actually talked to under the bowels of the Sky Dome with Chris Colabello, and he was fascinating and engaging. And look, my wife loves the Red Sox. I'm an Orioles guy. I mean, we all know about the dugout being ripped up here, and it's easy to hate on Big Papi and talk steroids if you're an Orioles fan. But I found a real human element from him and a real likability that I'm going to be a Big Papi fan. But who knew that he had this in him? And more than that, I guess it begs the question of, is this a real retirement party, or is this just, him, having the kind of year where they're going to make him come back next year? He's going to want to come back next year because very few guys go out with this kind of season.
Yeah, you're right. It is very uncommon. You think like Michael Jordan, 1998 with the Bulls, in his second retirement, I guess it was.
He didn't really retire.
Yeah,
He
I
didn't
know.
really retire.
Yeah, but yeah, you're right. It is. It is. You don't see it very often. I mean, David's pretty adamant that this is it for him. And while he keeps hitting the ball, every time you see him run, you say, how long can this guy? How long can he physically run anymore? I mean, it's really hard for him to get to point A to point B, and that's why I think he's doing himself a very good service that he continues to hit the ball to the ballpark. He doesn't have to run on
that helps.
On those,
that helps. I can run those out even.
Yeah,
Sure.
and even the doubles he hits. But yeah, it's just amazing the way he's kept himself going early in the 2009 and 2010 seasons, and to see him come back, like this, it is hard to believe he's going to go. But you have to take him at his word right now when he says that this is it, and maybe that's why he's playing so well. Maybe he's just so relaxed that he knows he doesn't have to prove anything, and that this is going to be it for him one way or the other.
With Bogaerts and with Bradley, sustainable in your mind? I mean, I've been waiting a long time on these bats to awaken the way they have. Do we expect to look up in September and see both of them well above 300?
Well, Bogaerts, yes. I mean, Bogaerts hit, I think it was 330 last year and had 196 hits. So this guy is clearly for real, clearly a guy who could do it over a full season. Jackie Bradley, we know he's an elite defender, and we know right now that he's a guy who, when he gets hot, few people can do what he does offensively, but what we don't spawn for the rest of the year is at the stage where he's gained enough experience right now, knows kind of what to expect. But, he's been at such a ridiculous pace. You really only need him to hit 270 or 280 with his defense to be a really effective player for you. So, whether or not he does perform at this level, still a very valuable player here for the Red Sox.
I mean, what's harder, dude? Hitting 400 as a player or hitting 300 as a team? I mean,
it is. And, you don't know if that's probably not going to keep up. But, these guys, again, it's just they don't give at-bats away. And it has been sort of contagious. One guy passing the baton to the other. These guys, they almost make it look like a softball game in the games they've been playing at Fenway this year.
Yeah, but I mean, they've been playing in the muck, in the rain, in the cold, and all that. I mean, once the balls start flying a little bit, you would expect the hitting to get better during the summer. At least I would.
Yeah, I mean, he stays healthy and hopefully, avoid some prolonged slumps. But these guys look like they mean business right now. That's for sure.
Well, pitching's going to be the key. We talk about it year-round, off-season, in-season. So far, the Orioles have kind of had enough of it, and the Red Sox have had kind of sort of enough of it, but not all that they want to have. And I know the Red Sox, the word now is over the next 8 weeks, the reload will begin to see who they're going to go out and poach and which pitcher is going to be pitching for them in August and September that currently isn't. I don't know that we have that hope here in Baltimore. And certainly, Dombrowski knows more about the minor league system there now, working on the inside of it. But you have to have that artillery to deal from. It feels like the Red Sox are already talking about that in early June.
Yeah, I mean, the Red Sox have a very deep farm system. They actually suffered a big blow yesterday when Sam Travis, they're one of the top hitters in their system, blew out his ACL. So that takes him out for the rest of the year. He's a first baseman. But, they still have a lot of depth in their organization. They have guys, a pool of guys of which they can trade from. They also have some catching depth. You look at a guy like Blake Swihart, you might be able to trade him now. Christian Vasquez has sort of taken the bull by the horns in that catching position. So, yeah, I think the Red Sox, they want to win a championship this year. So I think you will see Dave Dombrowski go out and do what he needs to do to get. I think they'll get one starter and one reliever. Hard to say yet who it's going to be, but I do think they'll add two semi-impact pitchers here before we get to August 1st.
One more push for Poppy, right?
Exactly, yeah. And just one more push for a competitive ownership that is very disappointed to finish in last place 2 years in a row and 3 out of 4. And these guys, they really want to win. And Dave Dombrowski loves that mentality. That was the same mentality he had in Detroit. He didn't marry himself to the prospects. He would sometimes, you look at most of his trades, most of them have worked out pretty well over the course of his career.
Ian Browne, longtime beat writer for the Red Sox at MLB.com as well as at RedSox.com. Well, we haven't talked about the Blue Jays. We haven't talked about the Yankees. I don't know if we need to talk about the Rays at this point, although they've been personally a disappointment for me because I was the chump that picked them 10 weeks ago to do well, especially with the pitching. But these teams are a little more bunched up than in some other divisions, and the competitiveness is there. And the Yankees feel like they're sort of slinking along and lurking along. That bullpen looks to be formidable. I know there's been some talk of trading those guys away at the trading deadline. I don't think they're going to be in a position to do that. I think the Yankees are going to be more competitive this summer than they've been this spring.
Yeah, the Yankees look like a team that, yeah, you do have that 7, 8, 9, just a dominant combo right there. So the rest of your staff just needs to be okay. They just need to keep you in games. The offense has to do a little bit just to give you a lead and hand the ball to those guys. So yeah, I think the Yankees are going to finish much better than they started here. The one team, and I saw them. I was in Toronto over the weekend. The Blue Jays are a team that you should be worried about. This is a team that just with those impact hitters they have in their lineup. I mean, it's a ridiculous lineup to try to navigate through. Just with those three studs they have. So I would be worried about Toronto making a push here, especially if they can add some pitching here, like they did last year when they got David Price. So to me, the Blue Jays are the one team that sort of really sticks out in the American League East as a team to watch out for these guys when they hit their stride.
Unconcerned about the Orioles at this point? Are you of the mindset they don't have enough pitching? Because we certainly wonder that around here as we wonder what to do with Ubaldo Jimenez.
Credit to Buck Showalter and the players on the team that they've gotten off to the start they have. But I am skeptical that they keep this up. But to me, it doesn't seem like they have the pitching to compete with the other teams in keeping this race the way they have so far.
Hey, always great having you on, Ian, man. I appreciate the visit here. It's going to be a long, long summer in Boston for all of you who cover the Red Sox. At least it's a lot more exciting than it was last year.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks, Nestor.
Appreciate you. Ian Browne, Ian M. Browne. You can find him out on Twitter as well as at RedSox.com and MLB.com as well. You can find me out in the Bahia Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours in the world on your mobile device. Just download the TuneIn Radio app. It takes about 30 seconds. We come in crystal clear. We've also been streaming here on WNST and WNSTV on our YouTube channel, as well as I've been peeking in on Facebook Live. You'll be hearing more about that as the summer goes along. But I'm a very available individual. You can find me nasty at WNST.net, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, anywhere you are, we are. WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Taos in Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.